This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news.
It's Monday, July 28th, 2025, and here are today's stories. A dramatic move from Lesotho as it declares a state of economic emergency. The U.S. just slapped a 50% tariff on its exports, putting its vital diamond and textile industries at serious risk. It's a day of flags, parades, and deep national pride. UNN's Emma takes us inside Norway's Constitution Day, a vibrant celebration of freedom, family, and tradition. A new plan could have England's NHS testing newborns' DNA for disease risks. The promise? Earlier diagnosis and saved lives. But critics warn the future of AI and genetics in healthcare isn't so clear-cut. Groundwater contamination, dying bees, and rising health issues. UNN's Ichiro reports from Miyako Island, where pesticide use in sugarcane fields is raising alarms and revealing deeper corruption at play. You might think kids in Canada are covered when it comes to mental health, but thousands of young people are struggling without the support they need. And in Staten Island, a cozy restaurant is turning home-cooked meals into cultural bridges, with grandmothers from around the world sharing recipes, stories, and soul.
Lesotho, a small but economically strategic nation in southern Africa, has declared a state of economic emergency after being hit with a 50% import tariff by the United States, one of the highest imposed under President Trump's new reciprocal tariffs regime. The decision threatens to derail the country's two most vital industries, textiles and diamonds.
The U.S. has been a major trade partner for Lesotho, accounting for more than 10% of the country's total annual income. In 2024, Lesotho exported $237.3 million worth of goods to the U.S., while importing just $2.8 million in return. That trade imbalance was used to justify the high tariff, which is already sending shockwaves through Lesotho's economy. The textile industry, which produces jeans and garments for major U.S. brands such as Levi's and Wrangler, employs tens of thousands of workers in Lesotho and makes up nearly 3/4 of the country's exports to the United States. With the new tariff, the cost of these goods will rise significantly for U.S. buyers, threatening demand and putting thousands of jobs at risk.
In this textile factory in Lesotho, rows of workers work on sewing machines to produce jeans for the whole world. Many of these garments will be shipped to the United States under AGOA, a trade agreement offering preferential export conditions to many African countries. But since the arrival of the Trump administration, uncertainty looms, fueled by fears that the agreement could expire this year.
We must go and then speak to his Congress, speak to the U.S. government, and then show them the importance of the business relationship that they've been having. And then
AGOA came into effect on the 18th of May 2000, opening the American market to more than 1,800 African products. Excluding oil, Lesotho is one of the main beneficiaries of this agreement on the continent, earning 155 million euros in 2023. According to its leaders, the end of AGOA would have a profound impact on all sectors of the kingdom's economy.
Access to the U.S. market through AGOA allowed Lesotho to build a thriving textile industry, creating around 40,000 jobs, most of them held by women. Garments accounted for nearly 90% of Lesotho's manufacturing exports, and about a tenth of its entire $2 billion GDP, according to global research firm Oxford Economics. And it's not just textiles. Lesotho's raw diamond industry, a vital source of foreign exchange and government revenue, is also at risk. Lesotho is home to some of the world's highest elevation diamond mines, including the Letseng diamond mine, located more than 3,000 meters, which is nearly 10,000 feet above sea level. This unique geological setting has proven to be rich in large and high-quality stones. However, the high tariff could force U.S. diamond buyers to look elsewhere, further shrinking Lesotho's already limited export market.
At 3,000 meters above sea level, Letseng in Lesotho's Maluti Mountains is the highest diamond mine in the world. The diamonds found here are so rare, they make up less than 5% of those available on the market. But global economic instability and the production of synthetic diamonds as a cheaper alternative have been challenging. And now a 50% tariff by the United States on exports from Lesotho is likely to make things worse.
It is a worry, Pamela. We are unsure at this stage.
Operations Director Gideon Skeepers fears the tariffs will have an impact on the supply chain.
Our concern is that what we export to Europe and what gets bought by international companies as cutters and polishers, they are the ones that will eventually export cut diamond for the jewelry trade into the American market. And the impact of the tariff will then be on the company and the origin from where those stones originate as cut diamonds.
High tariffs could mean lower demand and job losses. The mine employs 1,300 people, each of them supporting up to 12 family members.
Yes, I'm very much worried. One would worry about losing a job. Already we are struggling as the diamond mines.
US President Donald Trump says these are reciprocal tariffs, but Lesotho's government says taxes on goods imported from the US are not as high as claimed.
Lesotho is part of the Southern African Customs Union. And if you take the entire tariff book and do a little bit of mathematics, you'll find out that we are charging on average 7.5%.
Lesotho was originally included among the first 15 countries slated for virtual negotiations with the U.S. to discuss the tariffs when they were announced in March 2025. However, those talks never took place as planned. In his April State of the Union address to Congress, President Trump briefly mentioned Lesotho, referring it to a country, quote, no one has ever heard of, end quote, while discussing government spending. Despite Lesotho's ongoing efforts, direct communication with the Trump administration remains elusive.
A brief that is said to be for 90 days. It is said that it is done so that we can sit down and negotiate. And I don't have a good experience in terms of trying to get meetings with the administration to get just that to happen. So it can happen that after 3 months, we have not even been able to sit down with the American government to negotiate. So I think it's just one of those things that are giving us a time to maybe keep on our strategy to diversify.
And you've been trying to get a meeting from when the Trump administration announced that they were going to put this 50% tariff on products from Lesotho. Yesterday, Donald Trump said, well, those who are going to be spared in this 90-day window will now be able to hold meetings. I know the Japanese, Vietnam are right at the front of the queue in terms of appointments that have been made public. Are you confident then, post what he said last night, that indeed you will be given an audience?
I hope we will be given an audience. I'm not confident. Just this afternoon, I was talking to our ambassador in Washington, and he told me something very disturbing. I said, Minister, let's forget about meeting the U.S. government at this time. Instead of giving us an appointment, they want us to write a proposal, which I don't know what that means. So for me, I'm not as confident.
Despite the damaging U.S. tariffs, Lesotho is working to diversify its economy and reduce reliance on American exports. The government has launched a plan to create 60,000 jobs over the next 2 years in sectors like construction and agriculture, using emergency funds redirected from ministry budgets. At the same time, Lesotho is exploring new trade partnerships with South Africa, the EU, and countries within the African Continental Free Trade Area. Officials are also engaging diplomatically with U.S. trade representatives, challenging the tariff rates and pushing for a fair deal.
Norwegian Constitution Day celebrates Norway's independence with family, traditions, parades, flags, and national costumes. UNN Field Messenger Emma highlights the pride and joy of this special day.
Hello, this is Field Messenger Emma with family and friends reporting about the Norwegian Constitution Day from 1814 and how we celebrate this day every year. I asked family members to send videos and pictures so we could make a Field Messenger report together. The 17th of May was established as a national day in 1814. This day, the Constitution of Norway was signed, declaring Norway as an independent nation. However, Norway belonged to Sweden and had to follow the Swedish rules at the time. When the Norwegian people started celebrating this Freedom Day, the Swedish king said that it was an insult to the Swedish kingdom. They believed that celebrations like these were kind of a protest and even a revolt against the union with Sweden. The celebration of the 17th of May has always been for the children, rather than a day of patriotic pride. The children's parade was launched in Christiania, which is now Oslo, in 1870, but the parade was consisting of boys only. But in 1899, girls were allowed to join the parade for the first time. Then further on in 1905, the union with Sweden was dissolved and Prince Carl of Denmark was chosen to be the king of an independent Norway under the name Håkon VII. This ended any Swedish concerns for the activities on the National Day and the parade. The Norwegian Independence Day is a holiday and is celebrated as a family day, and not with military parades as many other countries do. The children have a special role in the celebrations. The biggest part of the event is dedicated to them. The children's parade consists of marching with their school bands, singing Norwegian song, waving their flags and carrying school banners. The parades varies in size from a few dozen people in the villages to several tens of thousands participants in the capital, Oslo. All the school classes in Oslo pass by the royal palace, where members of the royal family are waving back from the balcony. The Norwegian king is the host of the National Day, and he and his family spends hours on the terrace of the castle, waving to the people passing by. It is all televised on national TV for the whole country to see and celebrate every year. We also dress up in our national costumes, both men and women, and the national costume we call bunad. They are all handmade in traditional wool fabrics and decorated or embroidered by hand. These national costumes are different from county to county. They all have their own colors, their own decorations and design. The 17th of May tradition is decorated with Norwegian flags everywhere, flowers, birch branches and leaves. So basically it's all about parades, flying flags, speeches, food, celebrating memories. And for us who are not currently in Norway, we can follow the whole celebration through the direct television transmission from all over Norway. It's a lot of entertainment, and while we are eating our traditional 17th of May cake, which is decorated with the colors of our flag. So hope you enjoyed National Day in Norway, and thank you for watching. See you next time.
In England, the National Health Service, or NHS, is exploring an ambitious plan, testing newborns' DNA to check for disease risks. Using genomics and AI, the goal is to speed up diagnosis and catch illnesses early. Sounds good, right? Spot issues early, save lives. It's a no-brainer. But hold on, it's not quite that simple.
A recent NHS pilot project has already sequenced the genomes of 100,000 babies to check for more than 200 conditions. However, these tests don't give clear-cut answers. They only provide a risk estimate. And here's the tricky part. Risk isn't the same as a diagnosis. Terms like high risk or likely might sound straightforward, but they can cause confusion. Studies show while some people grasp what risk scores mean, many interpret high risk more seriously than they should, and even doctors sometimes overestimate what these results actually indicate. This is where things get messy. In genomics, the line between you might get sick and you will get sick gets blurry fast. Policymakers don't help either, throwing around phrases like diagnosis before symptoms or leapfrogging disease. These sound exciting, but they can lead to over-testing, unnecessary treatments, or even psychological harm. Imagine growing up thinking you'll get sick one day, only to realize you never do. That's not just stressful. It can shape your identity and decisions in ways that stick with you. But that's not all. There are more concerns about how genetic testing might affect people's lives in time.
As we stride into the digital age, our genetic blueprint becomes more accessible, raising profound ethical dilemmas. Imagine a world where your genetic information is available to institutions, used for personalized ads or employment screening. This scenario challenges the delicate balance between innovation and privacy, posing questions about consent and autonomy. In the face of digital transparency, it becomes crucial to reflect on what privacy truly means in today's era. Discerning the boundaries between sharing for scientific progression and safeguarding personal identity becomes imperative. Striking this balance can guide policy, shape public perception, and protect the intrinsic value of our unique genetic material, ultimately prompting society to rethink the essence of individual privacy in the face of technological advancements.
When applied to the general population, where most people are healthy, broad DNA screening can create more problems than it solves. Research shows even well-designed tests can produce more false positives than true results, as seen during the COVID pandemic. False positives cause unnecessary stress, extra testing, and even harmful treatments. For example, Alzheimer's tests in healthy populations are wrong up to 2/3 of the time, according to research published in European Neurology. And it doesn't stop there. In 2022, a New York Times investigation found non-invasive prenatal tests, or NIPT, for rare conditions are wrong a shocking 80% to 93% of the time. Even worse, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration doesn't regulate the accuracy or marketing of these tests, and labs don't have to share performance data. The lack of oversight opens the door to serious harm for patients.
They are definitely creating awareness of a very serious problem, but I wasn't surprised by the information that they were presenting, because last year I testified in 3 different states on this very issue alone. The fact that there is a high number of false positives among these prenatal screens, and over a dozen states currently are prohibiting abortion based on discrimination and these prenatal screens. And so I knew going in that there is a problem here, but there's more to this story as well. But they definitely brought attention to a very serious problem, that a lot of these prenatal screens are reporting false positives and leading these women to make some incredibly difficult decisions. And unfortunately terminating their child because of these results.
Of course, there's big money in all of this. According to Grandview Research, the global genomics market is worth more than $32 billion. So this isn't just about improving health, it's about business. The NHS Digital shows Genomics England already shares patient data with businesses. Add AI to the mix, and concerns about surveillance grow even bigger, with potential for digital IDs that combine both biometric and genomic data. Sure, the health benefits could be huge, but ethical issues like consent and transparency can't be brushed aside.
So while DNA testing for newborns might sound like a step into the future, it comes with a lot of questions we need to answer first. The stakes are high, and it's about more than just science. It's about trust, ethics, and the balance between innovation and responsibility.
At New Earth Innovations, we searched the planet for nature's most powerful anti-inflammatory. We found it off the coast of New Zealand. Omega 369 Plus is made from Perna, the green-lipped mussel, rich in natural omega-3s, chondroitin sulfate, and rare glycosaminoglycans. Support joint flexibility, easier breathing, better digestion, and a calmer, less inflamed body naturally. Grown in clean New Zealand waters, backed by nature, sustainably sourced, trusted by thousands. Subscribe today and start feeling the difference.
Hi everyone, this is Leanne.
And I'm Jerry.
Coming to you from Tamworth, New South Wales.
Hi there, this is Rick from Arizona.
My name is Uchechukwu Obenebam from Igbo tribe, Nigeria.
Hi, this is Scott from Utah.
I'm Annette from Agassiz, British Columbia.
Hi, I'm Marcus Sulzet from Manipur State, India.
Real people reporting real stories from all around the world. That's what United Network News is all about.
Can you clap?
We had a huge flood, which some call the flood of the century.
No fake news here. Our field messengers share personal experiences of what's really happening in their community.
We got some nice fish right here.
At UNN, you are the news.
My family and I had a very good time.
Take the next step. Become a UNN field messenger and share the real news with the world.
In the northwest province of South Africa, I am United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I am United Network News, and if it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's going to be, it's up to me. If it is going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to us. Field Messages, United Network News. See you next time.
Pesticide use in sugarcane fields on Miyako Island, Okinawa, is contaminating groundwater, harming bees, and contributing to rising developmental disabilities. UNN Field Messenger Ichiro reports that the deeper issue lies in corrupt systems exploiting Japan's land and people.
Hello, this is Field Messenger Ichiro, reporting for United Network News from Miyako Island, Okinawa Prefecture, Japan. 宮古島は日本の最南端近くに位置し、美しい海に囲まれています。観光と農業が島の主要な産業です。島はほぼ平坦で川はなく、島民は地下ダムに溜めた地下水で生活しています。最近、島に住む養蜂家から、ミツバチの突然死が相次いでいるという話を聞きました。彼は島の主要産業の一つであるサトウキビ畑に散布された農薬が原因だと考えています。島民は唯一の水源である地下水を使って生活せざるを得ませんが、農薬は地中に浸透して地下水を汚染しています。日本では、発達障害のある子どもの数が過去10年間でほぼ倍増し、沖縄県では 8% 増加したそうです。しかし、宮古島ではその数がなんと 44% も増加しており、その原因は未だに特定されていません。養蜂家が自治体にミツバチの突然死を報告しても、役人たちはその原因が農薬だと認めようとしません。 一方で自治体は農薬使用の費用の 70% を補助しています。そして日本では欧米では禁止されている様々な農薬が大量に使用されているのです。まるで日本が人体や自然に有害な大量の余剰農薬の在庫処分場であるかのようです。これは一体何を意味しているのでしょうか？その背景を説明しましょう。ほとんどの日本人は気づいていないことですが、日本が独立国なのは表向きだけで、実質的には依然としてアメリカの占領下にあり、ここ20年ほどは中国共産党がアメリカの支配権を部分的に奪っています。アメリカ政府から命令されれば日本政府は従わざるを得ず、その見返りとして政治家や政府高官は企業から献金やリベートを受け取っています。日本を代表する政治家や高級官僚の中には、真の愛国心を持つ者は一人もいないと思います。外見とは裏腹に彼らのほとんどは日本人ですらありません。彼らは表向きは日本国民のために働きますが、実際には正反対のことをしています。世界の歴史においてしばしば見られるように、日本においても少数民族を使った過酷な支配と統制が行われているのです。これは第二次世界大戦後80年近くかけて構築され、社会の隅々にまで浸透した隠れた支配システムです。日本の国土と国民の生活は、アメリカや中国の政府、企業と結託した、こうしたエセ日本人政治家、官僚、実業家、メディアその他の人々によって徐々に蝕まれてきています。同じことがこの宮古島でも起こっているのです。私はアメリカや中国その他の国民を非難するつもりはありません。ただ DS による支配が終わり、この支配構造が崩壊する日が一日も早く来ることを願っているだけです。そしてその崩壊が近い将来に必ず起こるであろうことを固く信じています。宮古島の美しい自然をこれ以上破壊し、人が住めない場所にしてはなりません。This is Field Messenger 一郎、Reporting for United Network News, from 宮古アイランド、沖縄プリフェクチャージャパン。Thank you for watching.
When we think about mental health, we often picture adults juggling work, family, and life's demands. But what about kids and teens? You'd expect Canada, with its universal health care and progressive policies, to have it covered, right? Sadly, that's not the case. Many young people are struggling with mental health.
The Mental Health Commission of Canada says building strong emotional and social skills early in life is key to mental health and resilience later on. But here's the thing. 70% of people with mental illness start noticing symptoms before they turn 18. In Canada, mental illness currently affects about 1.2 million children and teens. By the time they reach 25, that number skyrockets to 7.5 million. That's roughly 1 in 5 Canadians. Let that sink in for a moment. That's why focusing on kids and teens' mental health is so important. It's shaping their future. This ties in perfectly with UNICEF Canada's recent report on child well-being in wealthy countries. The report shows while Canada has made progress in some areas, it still falls behind in others, especially in children's and youth mental health. Life satisfaction among children is dropping, and adolescent suicide rates are still alarmingly high.
New numbers from UNICEF find Canadian youth are facing social struggles that are impacting their overall well-being. UNICEF's recent report card suggests 1 in 5 youth in Canada face frequent bullying, 1 in 5 are lonely, and 1 in 4 struggle to make friends. The survey points to bullying in particular for a drop in life satisfaction reported by 15-year-olds. Despite being among the 10 wealthiest countries studied, Canada ranked 19th out of 36 countries overall.
We're hearing from a lot of families how isolated their kids are, as well as their youth. So not only children under the age of 12, but also youth over the age of 12 are just experiencing loneliness and isolation at an alarmingly high level.
Cochrane, who leads the Parents for Children's Mental Health Peer Support Program, says this takes a toll on the whole family.
Whether it's a wait list for child and youth mental health services or having to miss work because our kiddo can't go to school but can't be home alone. The financial stresses that come from that just alone are significant.
The mother of two says we need to treat mental health as a foundational pillar of well-being on par with physical health.
When we look to what our kids in this generation are exposed to, we look to social media and digital culture, and it's amplifying feelings of exclusion or comparison, which also reduces in-person social interactions.
Parents are encouraged to check in with their children, offer a listening ear, and join support groups or speak with experts to assist in care.
Many factors affect children's mental health, and the pandemic was a major one. Turns out locking kids up at home and flipping their world upside down wasn't exactly great for their mental health. Canada's government reports COVID-19 lockdowns and social changes caused a big rise in youth health issues like anxiety, depression, and PTSD. This leads to more mental health visits, especially among young females, with loneliness and stress on the rise. For instance, research from Mental Health Research Canada shows in Ontario, the demand for children and youth mental services jumped by 104% between 2021 and 2022 alone. Also, according to the Mental Health Commission of Canada, less than 20% of youth transitioning to adult mental health services get the support they need.
We are continuing to see a steady decline in their mental and their physical health. This new survey was done as a follow-up to a survey right before the pandemic. So back in 2019, Statistics Canada surveyed kids from coast to coast to coast, looking at their mental and physical health, and then repeated the survey in 2023. And so we've seen over the past 4 years a significant decline. That children who previously said their mental health was good or very good are now saying it's poor or fair. That's 1 in 5 children, or over 1 million kids in our country, who have seen a very significant decline. It's very alarming because we know that even before the pandemic began, that the mental health of kids in Canada wasn't good. So we've just gone from bad to worse. And you speak with any young person today, they'll tell you that they're facing significant stressors in their homes, in their schools, in their community, from a whole host of different factors. And this is playing out in a variety of different ways. There's having more headaches, more stomach aches, more backaches, let alone the struggles they're facing in going to school and feeling less optimistic about their future.
When children and teens are struggling with mental health, it can impact their education, confidence, and ability to find a job later on. Youth unemployment is a huge issue in Canada, and when you add mental health challenges to the mix, it only gets tougher. When young people can't find work or are stuck in jobs that don't pay enough, it can take a serious toll on their mental health, leading to anxiety or depression. That, in turn, can make it even harder to get or hold on to a job, creating a tough cycle that's hard to break. And to make things worse, young people in Canada are up against a pretty rough job market, which only adds to the challenge.
Highlight sort of this section and turn it.
Show Ritco is getting some help tinkering with their resume, restructuring it, adding certificates, anything that might help them stand out in a very tight jobs market.
It's hard. I have a spreadsheet of all the jobs that I applied to within like a 2-month period, and it was over 80, and I only heard back from 2 of those, and they were both gig jobs, so nothing stable.
Just a few years ago, Canada had a shortage of workers, but now hiring is down. Many economists blame the trade war for fueling uncertainty and say employers are reluctant to bring on new staff. Canada's unemployment rate for 15 to 24-year-olds is more than 14%. That's 1.4% higher than last year and double the national average.
Type in what you want, like part-time, full-time, and then where you're from.
While the job search might be smoother now with the help of online platforms, economists say it hasn't been this slow for young people since 2012.
A lot of people without experience are having difficulties entering into entry-level positions because there's people who have more experience who are trying to apply for those jobs as well.
Employment agencies say there's more competition for summer jobs and casual work, ones teens or young adults often fill.
It's just like getting the first job that's so hard. I've tried to apply for jobs for like a year now, and just like most places like don't get back to me, or they just like say no.
Canada has a long way to go when it comes to supporting children and teens' mental health. These challenges aren't just statistics, they're real struggles that shape futures, and ignoring them only makes things worse. UNICEF Canada calls on the government to invest in better policies, mental health support, and equal opportunities, giving the next generation the tools they need to thrive.
Enoteca Maria, a small cozy restaurant in Staten Island, offers a unique experience where grandmothers from around the world serve as chefs, sharing their cultures and recipes. The restaurant inspired the popular Netflix movie Nonnas. UNN Field Messenger Irene speaks with the owner to learn more.
Hello everyone, I am Irene, your field messenger for UNN, reporting from Staten Island. There is a charming and unassuming restaurant that sits in the heart of St. George. And this restaurant made big headlines recently on Netflix with a movie called Nonnas. The restaurant is called Enoteca Maria and has been a staple in the area for over 15 years, only employing grandmothers as chefs for the day. As I step into the restaurant, it is filled with all kinds of movie and comic paraphernalia, which describes the owner's personality. And on the right of the entrance, you will see an altar of the owner's own grandmother. Joe Scarabella always lights a candle for her every day. I will sit with Joe and talk about his restaurant and how it came to be and what is next for him and the restaurant and his newfound fame.
And I'm sitting here with Joe Scarabella, who's the infamous owner of Enoteca Maria that has been portrayed in the movie Nonnas. And thank you to see you, Joe. For sure. Good to see you. Tell me about how this came to be an Enoteca Maria.
So we are nose of the world now, but in the beginning, as portrayed in the movie, we started out with Italian grandmothers. So shortly after opening, we realized it's not all about Italian, so we came up with the concept or the initiative of Nose of the World. So the restaurant came about in the beginning because I lost my grandparents and my parents, and I was trying to backfill what I had lost.
I'm sorry about that, but come from this idea now that you had Nonnas of the World, how's that be for you and now seeing your life on screen?
Well, seeing my life on screen, it was never a plan or a possibility in my mind, but I mean, here we are. Yeah. So I really love featuring ladies from all over the world. I think we have an opportunity now to spread cultural awareness, and I think anytime an opportunity presents itself to spread love and tolerance, I think that we should take it.
Absolutely. And what's next for Enoteca Maria?
Well, so the movie is a #1 hit around the world, and so we already have the sequel is in the works. There will also be a TV series that will come out soon as well. And some exciting news is we have a virtual book. It's also called Nose of the World. It should be coming online later this week. And so basically it's going to become an archive of a historical archive of these ladies and their recipes and their cultural history. This is all extremely important stuff, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Thank you so much for your time. I know your time is precious, and I love you so much. And thank you for watching.
Now it's your turn. Join our weekly meetings and become a field messenger. More information is available at our website, unitednetwork.earth. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.